Welcome to our next talk at AlloyUI 2013. I'm happy to introduce Eduardo Lundgren from AlloyUI, and he'll be talking about reintroducing AlloyUI. So everyone give a big hand for Eduardo.
Thank you. Okay, today I'm going to reintroduce AlloyUI. So first question I have is, how many of you know of Alloy or have used Alloy before? Okay, nice. So just a little bit of introduction of myself. I'm Eduardo Lundgren. I'm a past contributor from jQuery. So I started contributing around 2006. And there was like a funny shift to go to YY, but it was very good. I will explain why. Then I joined jQuery UI as well, and in there I learned other front-end stuff for focusing on widgets and these kind of things. And then I moved to YY. So, okay, I will start with, I work for this company called Liferay, and it's a business portal company. Our product is very large, and we have a lot of plugins and clients that can plug anything they want into the platform. So this is very dangerous because we as front-end, we should be very careful what we provide to them in order to not cause problems for them in the future. And in order to make it very safe, we have to look to the past and see what we did and what we are going to do. So this is the first version of Liferay. It was like 10 years ago. We only used JavaScript for that version. And then it started evolving and starting having drag and drop interfaces and stuff like that. So then we decided to use jQuery. So by then we had other options. We could go to YY2, or we could use Dojo or any other solution available by then. But we thought, why should we use jQuery? Everyone loves jQuery, and it's the most popular project around, like 5 years ago or 4 years ago. It's like the Justin Bieber of the web, you know? So we decided we cannot go to something else. We have to use jQuery. And then, okay, everyone liked it, and it was doing the job. But the portal started growing and growing, and we thought we need something more flexible. We need a better architecture and something that we can be able to extend and improve easily. So then we decided to create AlloyUI. By then, YY3 was alpha. It was just a prototype library, I guess, but it was already very promising, and we believed that, and we started using it. So we had to build all the widgets we have available on the portal. We had to port them to YY. We have to study YY API and do everything on this new framework. And then we come out with this idea to create the AlloyUI. YY was the choice, perfect. They had effects, Ajax, MVC, events, DOM, a lot of things that are nice. And then we want to create like calendars, buttons, and a lot of other components. So in order to do that, we had only 6 months to finish. Okay, it's not unhuman, and I'm not proud to say we had only 6 months. So me and the other front-end guys, we worked so hard, and then we put a lot of components out without any help for like designers and anything. And you know, engineers cannot design, so it was a problem for them. We had a lot of components on top of YY infrastructure. It was very nice, but it doesn't look as good as we want to, the look and feel. And then we come out with this website, and we published it, and then we decided to do a visit to the YY guys. So we went to Yahoo, and we were very excited because they were very excited as well with the project, and we didn't know that they were going to like, and we were very happy. So it's yeah, that's nice. And then we published this to our clients as well on the portal. So we expected our clients to have the same feedback we got from Yahoo, but actually they did the opposite. They just want to stay with jQuery. And then we went to Brazil. We have a branch in Brazil, and everyone, the front ends here and there, we made a lot of plans, and we thought, what are we doing wrong, and what can we improve in order to make a better version of Alloy and make everyone loves it and uses it. So we came out with the Alloy 2.0 in January this year. And we changed a lot of things in order to improve and to make sure people will like it. The first thing we decided to do is we want to make it easier to use. It was already following all the YY conventions, all the YY interfaces for widgets and everything, but we had a lot of options in our widgets. Most of them didn't have the full options in them. So we started to analyzing all of them and simplifying them. Also, the size of the project was too big. By then, we didn't fork the AlloyUI project. We created a new project, and we used it as a submodel, but we started adding a lot of stuff. The project got very large, 1 gigs, and to download was 80. So we were starting to make people scared about using Alloy. And then we decided, what can we do in order to simplify that and also to make people use Alloy very easily? Yeah, well, we created our CDN in Alloy 2, and we hosted our code. So this file, ay.js, is pretty much the YY seed file plus our models mapping. And then they are available in our CDN. You can just include and use. So you can be asking yourself, why just not use the gallery? We also are in the gallery. We have the first version hosted there, but the second version, we decided to host on our own gallery in order to improve releases and push faster. And we have plans to publish this new version also in the gallery when we figure out what's going on with it in the future. So also faster builder. We used to use YY builder, like the beginning of the YY project, and it's nice. It did the job, but it was slow. It used ants in the background. So we moved it to Shifter. So it's also a big change. We had to restructure the entire project with Yogi and Shifter. And it was a lot of work as well to finish everything, to restructure all the tree and everything. So it got faster, and people loved it as well. Documentation also was a problem. People were asking documentation and examples. They didn't know how to use our widgets. So then we created this new website. It's a nice website because you can also use as a learning point from YY. We have a lot of examples, documentations, APIs. We also show the Rosetta Stone there. And if you go, there are a lot of demos you can click, and there are interactive codes. You can just play with them. All right, we thought, let's see if the people will like it, and they actually did. We had 1.2 million page views this year. So I think what we made for the AlloyUI community, which is growing, they are loving it. So we are pretty excited. Also, the number of stars in the project grew a lot. So it's like 700 stars in less than 8 months we got. So I think we are trying to fix everything, and we are doing something that people are liking it. We had 30,000 downloads. Okay, so everything we made in this first phase was trying to fix the mistakes we made in the past, right? And we didn't want to do that only for Alloy and only for Liferay. We also have been working with the Yahoo engineers in improving performance and giving back what we have been doing inside the company, inside Alloy. So I've been working with Satya and the other guys in some performance improvements for base. You can see the numbers. The new version of YY has a lot of features that got improved. And every time they release something, we test on Alloy. We have a lot of tests as well right now. We are running Yeti Cloud. So every commit we run a lot of tests to make sure we don't break anything, because we have YY to test inside Alloy. We have Alloy to test inside Liferay. So we have a lot of different combinations that helps the YY guys to test when they do critical changes. And one of the biggest changes, in my opinion, was we had to redesign everything. I mentioned before that we didn't have any design in the first version of Alloy, and engineers cannot design very well the look and feel, and we needed something. So we made several meetings with Yahoo engineers trying to figure out what to do. We didn't have pure CSS by then, and we had to pick something. And then we ended up choosing Bootstrap. But yeah, don't be worried, because we only use the CSS and the markup part of Bootstrap in Alloy. And this was actually a good experience, because when we moved to Bootstrap, we had to think, how can we extend the YY models? How can we inject the new information inside the YY models in order to be able to change the CSS classes that are being applied to the markup and to the widgets? So we found that answer. So in Alloy 2, we have a lot of examples that is just extending it. And one of the reasons we choose Bootstrap is because they have a lot of themes around. So we thought, if we create with the YY JavaScript code an interface that can just plug some Bootstrap without changing any logic in their implementation, we can just switch the CSS, and we have any theme available, and you can use on your portal and on your site if you are using Alloy. So we changed the markups, and the CSS classes from different widgets, also ours, in order to support Bootstrap interface for the CSS. One example is this GIF. There is the buttons. This is the YY buttons being used by Alloy. And the only change we made was we augment the button classes with the new CSS class. So when they fix some bug on YY, we get this for free. We don't need to copy the code or duplicate anything in order to have these buttons. Other example is the overlay API. The overlay API on YY is very nice. On Alloy, we augmented actually, and created a popover class. So this popover, we are using the Bootstrap CSS. The same we did for tooltips. We have the tooltips available. We also create a tooltip delegate class, which you can apply to a list, and it also uses the overlay behind the scenes. Tabs, YY tabs. So we didn't duplicate code, we just augmented its code with the capability of handle these templates. Modals and progress bars. And then the result of that was very exciting for our product. The first version of Liferay with Alloy 1 looked like that. It's not very modern. And then we thought, okay, let's see after all these changes in the infrastructure, how this is going to look like. And like this is the version in development right now, using Bootstrap as a CSS framework for us, and YY and Alloy behind the scenes. So looks much modern and more easy to back-end guys who doesn't know how to design, to just copy and paste some markup and use it. So we are very excited with the results we are having. And also, with these changes we made on Alloy 2, we are able to extend the widgets with our new CSS classes or our new markup. This means that we can also plug other libraries. So we have plans also to, at some point, try to create a branch or a version to pure CSS or any other CSS library that makes sense. Mobile devices were also a good thing. We had to make Liferay available to the devices in such a way that they don't need to duplicate code. Our developers didn't want to write a code for a mobile and another widget for a desktop. So we start to using as much as possible HTML5. So one example is, let's say, imagine you are in a car and you want to select a date or create an event. In the browser, you have this interface that is very nice. You can pop over a date picker, you can click, but in the car, you have the mobile. The numbers are not very big. What can be done to improve it? So I'm going to show some demos of a date picker in Liferay. So this is the Liferay version running, and this is the calendar. So I'm going to add an event, and this is an input field. When I open this, I have a date picker of Alloy, so I can select a date, or I can select a time. Okay, this is just a regular UI. But when I go to mobile, how can this fall back to HTML5 with the same API? That would be nice if we can just write one code and this fall back. So this is one simulator for iPhone with iOS 7. So when you, in the phone, try to create an event, it fallbacks the same code you used for this, it fallbacks to the native inputs. And you keep the same interface, you still instantiate a widget, you still listen for the same events, but it handles the widget from the iOS 7. Right? Same for the time picker. Oh, it crashed my... Yeah. Okay, same for the time picker. So you can select the time, and it updates and fires the same callbacks in the back. Right, so we made those changes. We also made for other inputs natively in Alloy. You have email, date, number, and other kind of pickers. Everyone says that HTML5 is the future, but it's actually not the future. It's today. We can use it nowadays, and we are using Liferay. It's a business portal. We have a lot of clients using still Internet Explorer, but it's a reality. We create a widget in such a way that can fall back from native UI and also your UI that implement using the YY widget. We are also thinking about the future in terms of web components. That's something we're working inside Liferay, we are playing a lot with the specifications, with what they have around, in order to make available an interface for custom elements that people can instantiate Alloy widgets from the HTML5. So we created this website called customelements.io, and you should check it there. There are a lot of tags we are publishing and people are contributing because we want to learn and we want to improve the API together with the guys that are working on this in order to make sure we are doing the right decision when we decide to move to this direction. Okay? All right, let me show you some demos from Alloy in the browser. So for example, if you download from GitHub, they have the folder with all these demos here. One first demo that I want to show is like the color picker. We created this widget. It's just this is the popover I showed before. We have a color palette. You can like select a color, or you can just pick some other color. So all those widgets are available for you. So it's a modal. Toolbars. Toolbars is one component that is all around a big portal like Liferay. And this was a very hard one to build because imagine you create this is a widget and each button here is a base class or a plugin or a widget. It's going to take a lot for your website to render a page with all these widgets in the page. So we created some lazy infrastructures in the back that makes it possible. So if I refresh the page, all those widgets are, all those toolbars are being rendered in 33 milliseconds. Because the way we are creating and plugging the infrastructure of UIUI in this new version, we are thinking a lot about performance and how to delay actions on your browser. Because our clients were asking for that. Other component is like the scheduler. We decided one client of us wanted a Google Calendar version, but they didn't want to use the Google Calendar. So we wrote this component for them and also integrated with the backend, which is like a scheduler component, which you can navigate through the dates. You can have different views like this. You can create events. So let's say I want to create an event here. So you can see everything connected. This is a popover. This is a toolbar with 2 buttons. I can type the text here. Oops. I can edit. I can drag and drop. I can resize. So it's all connected here. And the performance is pretty good. We use model lists, data source, and everything in this component. You can go to the other views, like day. You can have the same view in the day. You can go to the month. In the month, you can create like multiple events like this. You can even drag and drop the event. So this is all done with the UIUI widgets API and the Alloy infrastructure that we are trying to create. And this infrastructure that I'm mentioning, we are pretty much creating as class extensions. So you can use this only without Alloy. If you want to get an overlay and augment with a popover capability, you can do it. You just need to use it, the model, and that's it. This is the tooltip example I showed before. The reason I'm showing this again is because we also have some class augmentations for positioning, for example. Let's say I have this tooltip here, and when I mouse over, it's here. The tooltip is in the bottom, but we have a lot of times the tooltip disappears from the viewport, and you have to manually or pragmatically change that to make sure you see the content. We have class augmentations that augment the widget position that figures out the best position for you in order to make sure it is still in the viewport. So let's say I make the screen smaller here, and the tooltip doesn't fit anymore here. So when I mouse up, it goes to the bottom. So if I mouse up again, it goes to the top. So this is all integrated with the UIUI API right now. We have also extensions for the resize, and we have like image croppers. So you can like get the coordinates and crop your image in the back end. We also made this demo for, this component for a client. They asked us to create something that they can create workflows in the front end. And then we use the API, the graphics API from UIUI, which is very powerful, to create this kind of application. And this was very complex because we had to connect divs with SVGs or any other rendering engine that is provided by UIUI. We had to connect all that and integrate like a regular web application. So this one is one example of what we were able to do with the UIUI graphics API. So you can create like new nodes. You can click here and edit the name of your connector. You can do like UIUI or something. You can change it. You can delete the connectors. And if you inspect this, you will see that it's pretty much SVGs mixed with, so SVGs in the middle of divs and everything. So we were able to create this, and it's being used by production right now, by a lot of clients, and it's very stable. Because of the YY graphics layer, we don't have too many bugs. We trust in this API. The backward compatibilities are very nice on their side. Yeah, so we also created some models that I'm even thinking about contributing to the course, like date parsing. This component here is a date picker that you can just bind to inputs, but you can support any languages, and you can create a mask, and the mask can be parsed back. So you have this date here. If you change like 95, it will parse to date and affect the calendar. And supports all the languages supported by YY right now. You can have multiple dates like this. You can use inside a toolbar with a popover with a toolbar, right? And the HTML5 fallback. If you inspect the events that are firing here, it's firing the same event that fires with the regular widget. So you just need to implement one time. Same for date picker. So for time picker, if you type like 1 hour, like 1:30, and like go back, this parses the date for you. And this also fallbacks to HTML5. Yeah, so we have a lot of news on Alloy going on. We have made a lot of changes, so if you check it one time, check it again, and feel free to ask me some questions or send me any Twitter. Okay, yeah, so I have a lot of stickers for Alloy. If you want some, I can give you, just talk to me. And that's pretty much it. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Okay, we have about 8 minutes for questions. So, you have any questions for Eduardo? All right.
So you mentioned before that the size of the framework you built on top of YUI used to be really, really big. What's its size now, even if it's hosted? What's the size of the framework?
Yeah, the size now, if you clone the repo, is not 1 gigabyte. I think it's around 18 megabytes. 15 megabytes.
Okay. So that's a lot smaller.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller, yeah.
So what was the main thing that helped reduce the size?
We used to, it was a lot of decisions we made in the past that was like not appropriated. We also have a Java version of Alloy. We have a lot of tag libs generated by the documentation from the JS docs. And those tag libs had generated jars, and we were committing a lot of things that were not supposed to be there. So that was one of the biggest reasons. Besides Shifter, Yogi boilerplate code that it generates, it's smaller than the one required by YY Builder, a lot of XMLs and stuff. So a lot of a sum of different combinations.
Cool. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah. Here.
Hey, great presentation.
Thank you.
What's your plan on creating new modules that are supported on mobile? Like, even though you showed us like a couple of components that are already supported on mobile, I would like to know what's the plan on that route.
Yeah, right now we are getting the low-level components like date pickers, inputs, layouts, and all that part. We are trying to support mobile, but we have plans to support more high-level ones. So, for example, this scheduler or the date picker, we want to make sure, even if you want to render them into the mobile, we make them responsible. And we are already working on that. You can actually see if you load them from the mobile, you can see they are partially already responsive. So our idea is to make anything that we render, like this scheduler, they have a lot of rows and columns. We want to make sure everything fits well in the mobile. So my answer for that is we will try to make every widget we provide somehow supported on mobile.
Awesome. Well, everyone, let's give a big hand for Eduardo, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Don't forget to get your stickers.